The scoreboard says Eala advanced to the third round of the Cincinnati Open. But that score only tells part of the story. What happened underneath those numbers is what has tennis fans talking. On Sunday afternoon in Mason, Ohio, Eala looked firmly in control before an unexpected injury and weather interruption brought the match to an abrupt end. And now, with world number 10 Amanda Anisimova waiting in the third round, the stakes have suddenly become much bigger. Because this is no longer the story of a promising young player trying to break through. Eala is becoming a player the world's best have to take seriously. Not long ago, Eala was the talented teenager arriving on tour as an exciting underdog. She had the talent, the confidence, and the potential, but opponents still had time to learn what she could do. That has changed. At 21 years old, Eala entered Cincinnati as the number 17 seed, the highest seeding of her career at a WTA 1000 event, carrying her first WTA-level title from Washington and a growing reputation that now puts a target on her back. That changes the way every match is viewed. When you're the hunter, people are waiting to see whether you can pull off the upset. When you're the hunted, every point gets analyzed. Every dip in form becomes a headline. And suddenly, even a second-round match against an opponent ranked outside the top 70 carries serious pressure. Eala's opponent, Elena Gabriela Ruse, had earned her place in the second round after beating Magda Linette in straight sets. On paper, it was a match Eala could win, but it was not one she could afford to overlook. And early on, things actually looked uncomfortable for the Filipina star. Ruse broke Eala's serve almost immediately. For a moment, it looked like the kind of slow start that could turn into a long afternoon. But then we saw something important. Instead of panicking, Eala settled down. She found her rhythm on serve, began using her left-handed angles to open the court, and started controlling rallies from the baseline. Then came the run. 2 games, 3, 4, then 5 and 6. A shaky beginning had turned into a statement. Eala closed out the opening set 6-1, and suddenly the match looked completely different. The second set followed the same pattern. Eala broke again, then raced to a 3-0 lead. She was taking control of points early, forcing Ruse to defend, and giving her opponent very little room to build momentum. For fans watching around the world, this was the version of Eala they had been waiting to see. Calm under pressure, aggressive without looking rushed, confident without becoming reckless. And then, just as Eala appeared to be cruising toward another major win, everything changed. Midway through the fourth game of the second set, Ruse required medical attention. At almost the same time, severe weather began moving into the Mason area. Lightning entered the region, and tournament officials were forced to suspend play and clear the grounds. Both players left the court. The match was suddenly on hold. Officials initially suggested that play might resume within the hour. But while everyone waited to see whether the match could continue, another decision was eventually made. Ruse retired from the match and could not continue. That meant Eala was officially declared the winner, with the score standing at 6-1, 3-0 when the retirement occurred. And this is where some casual viewers may be confused. So let's make it simple. There was no controversial ruling. There was no mysterious decision by tournament officials. There was no hidden drama behind the result. In professional tennis, when a player is unable to continue because of a physical issue and retires, the opponent who remains able to play advances. That's exactly what happened here. The result was official. Eala moved into the third round. At the same time, Ruse's situation deserves some perspective. There has not been a detailed public explanation revealing the full extent of her physical issue, and there is no reason to turn that uncertainty into speculation. Athletes often need time to recover before discussing an injury publicly. The appropriate thing is to respect her privacy and hope she makes a full recovery. But while the ending was unusual, what Eala did before the retirement was very real. Her serve created uncomfortable angles. Her return position put immediate pressure on Ruse. Her footwork was sharp, allowing her to dictate rather than constantly react. And perhaps most importantly, after giving up that early break, Eala never appeared rattled. She reset, she took control, and she kept building momentum. Of course, we'll never know what would have happened if Ruse had remained healthy and the match had gone the full distance. Would Eala have maintained that level? Would Ruse have found a way back? Could the momentum have shifted? Those questions will remain unanswered. But the official result still matters. This victory also gave Eala an opportunity to even the score in her head-to-head record against Ruse. Their previous meeting had ended in a 20-24 defeat for Eala, meaning this rematch carried its own little piece of history. The way it ended was not the clean competitive finish Eala might have wanted, but she still leaves Cincinnati with another win and another step forward. And now comes the real test. Amanda Anisimova, world number 10, the number 9 seed in Cincinnati. one of the most dangerous players remaining in the draw. Anisimova also came through her previous match in straight sets, setting up a third-round meeting with Eala that has never happened before. There is no previous head-to-head history between them, no old rivalry, no familiar script, just two players meeting for the first time on one of the biggest stages in tennis. And this is exactly the kind of matchup that shows how far Eala has come. She is no longer simply hoping to get noticed. She is not entering a match against a top 10 player just hoping to make it competitive. She has earned the right to be here, and now she gets a chance to test her game against one of the sport's established stars. Anisimova brings serious firepower. Her ground strokes can dictate rallies, and she can punish short balls almost instantly. Against a player like that, Eala will need her serve working. She'll need to keep using those left-handed angles. Her return game will have to create pressure from the opening point. And perhaps most importantly, she will need the same mental composure she showed after falling behind against Ruse. Because against Anisimova, small mistakes can become huge problems. One short ball can become a winner. One loose service game can become a break. One moment of hesitation can completely change the momentum. That's why this match is so fascinating. Eala has already shown that she can handle pressure. Now she gets to find out whether she can handle the power and consistency of a top 10 opponent. And regardless of what happens next, her 2026 season has already reached another level. She has won her first WTA-level title in Washington. She made a strong run at the Canadian Open before losing to former Olympic champion Belinda Bencic. She entered Cincinnati with a career-high seeding at a WTA 1000 tournament, and now she's into the third round. For Filipino fans, those milestones mean much more than numbers in a rankings column. Eala has become one of those rare athletes whose success feels shared. Young kids in the Philippines are seeing someone from their country compete against the best in the world. Filipino communities overseas are following her matches from phones, living rooms, workplaces, and wherever they can find a screen. Her success has become something people experience together. But pride alone doesn't win tennis matches. The next opponent won't care how much attention Eala is getting. Anisimova won't be intimidated by the size of the Filipino fan base. Once the match starts, all of that disappears. There will be one court, two players, and a scoreboard. And that's where Eala has to prove herself. The Cincinnati victory over Ruse may have ended earlier than anyone expected, but it gave us a glimpse of something important. Eala didn't just survive a difficult start. She responded to pressure and completely flipped the match. Now she has an even bigger opportunity. Can she take that confidence into a match against the world number 10? Can she absorb Anisimova's power and still dictate points with her own game? Can she stay patient when the rallies become physical and the pressure increases? Those are the questions that will define this next chapter. Because Eala is standing in a very different place now. She is no longer the unknown teenager nobody had prepared for. She is a seeded player at a WTA 1000 tournament. She is a champion. She is a career-high ranked competitor. And she is becoming a name that top players have to study before they walk onto the court. That's a major shift. And maybe that's the biggest story coming out of Cincinnati. The retirement ended Eala's second-round match, but it didn't end the conversation. If anything, it created more curiosity. We didn't get to see how Eala would close out a complete three-set battle. We didn't get to see whether Ruse could fight back. And we didn't get the definitive answer about just how long Eala could maintain that level. But now we get something different. We get a measuring stick. World number 10 Amanda Anisimova. For Eala, this isn't simply another round. It's a chance to see how her rapidly improving game holds up against one of the world's established elite. And for American tennis fans and viewers around the world, it's a matchup worth watching closely. Because Eala isn't asking for permission anymore. She's already arrived. Now she's trying to stay.